Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am AA Ron, and this is the Inclusive Dad Podcast, where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Marlee Kivens. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here.
Why don't you start us off by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, I am Marlee Kivens. I am a person with a physical disability called spina bifida. I am 53 years old. I live by myself in a condo in the Twin Cities, and I am a Pampered Chef consultant. I've been a Pampered Chef consultant for 10 years.
Awesome. And before we started recording, you're born and raised in Minnesota?
Yes, born and raised in Minnesota, grew up in St. Louis Park, moved to Minnetonka to my condo 27 years ago.
Okay. So always been living up in the Twin Cities metro area?
Except for 1 year of college at Drake University in Iowa, and then 4 years at University of Minnesota, Duluth.
Gotcha.
So
Duluth is pretty.
Yes, Duluth was pretty, and what attracted to me to Duluth was all the skyway systems and the underground tunnels, so that I could get around the campus without going outside if I needed to.
There you go. Yeah, I got my bachelor's in Winona at Winona State, and but bluffs were pretty over there too. Something different to look at than the cornfields where I'm from. So.
Yep, definitely.
Well, what is your definition of inclusion?
My definition of inclusion for me is independence. I can choose if I'm invited somewhere and the place is accessible, then I can choose whether I want to go or not. If it's not accessible, then I can't go.
Right.
So, and that also includes daily living. If I have the right tools in my condo to be independent, and they are accessible to me, that is the ultimate goal for me.
Yeah, that's a great definition. I love that. Has that kind of always been your definition, or has it changed over time?
It has changed over time. When I moved into my condo, I had a PCA that was helping me create all of my meals because I couldn't lift the box store products because they were too heavy and too cumbersome. And with my disability, I have hand issues and I have mobility issues. I also had help taking a shower because my condo was not accessible enough for me. And I had home care that was helping me take showers and helping me get dressed and things because I couldn't reach things. But I was on Medicaid for a while, and I was on a caddy waiver for a while. So the caddy waiver helped me make my condo completely accessible. I've got a roll-in shower and I use a walker now. So I just roll into the shower, and I've got 2 shower benches that are attached to walls. My kitchen is completely ADA. I've got countertops that are wheelchair heights. If I ever have surgery, the stovetop, underneath the stovetop and underneath the sink can be removed. So I can just go right under each of those. 10 and a half years ago, I went to a Pampered Chef party. I had a PCA that was creating all of my meals before that. And I found out how user-friendly the product was. It was an in-home party, didn't know what Pampered Chef was at the time, and found out how user-friendly and how ergonomically correct the product was. So within a month of going to that party, I was asked to join Pampered Chef. I decided to do that to get out of my comfort zone and meet people and show that people with disabilities don't need to be hidden, and they could have conversations with people and show people how independent they can be. And so I joined, and within 6 months of joining Pampered Chef, I let go of my PCA because I could sit at my island and I could create all the food that I wanted to create. I could bring the product from my island to my stovetop, to my refrigerator, to my dishwasher, wherever I needed to take it. I wasn't tapping things. I wasn't stepping on broken glass. I gained my independence, and I've sustained my independence for 10 years because of Pampered Chef.
Well, that's great. Can you explain a little bit about Pampered Chef? I've heard of it. I've had family members go to parties, purchase stuff. From what I remember, it was like we bought like some bacon dip that was really good or something. Is there other stuff besides like? Can you explain a little more about what products you guys sell and stuff?
Yep, Pampered Chef is a multi-generational. We've got baby products. We've got it's cookware, bakeware, pantry items, barbecue items, entertainment items, basically, and prep tools. It's basically anything and everything you could think of to have an easier time and a more functional time in the kitchen.
Okay.
I don't do in-home parties just because it is it's difficult for me to take to place. But I do virtual parties, so I can demo the products, and I can show the products, and I can make a recipe or two if I needed to for a virtual party. I do try to go to a farmer's market. I haven't been there in a couple of years due to medical issues, due to my spina bifida. But I'm usually at the Golden Valley Farmers Market in the Twin Cities on Sundays when it starts again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's lightweight product. It's ergonomically correct product for people with hand issues. And what I like about it, or what I do with customers or potential customers, is that I ask what they want to use the product for. And then I can recommend a specific product, or I can tell them if they're looking at a particular product and I don't like it because it didn't work for me. I tell that person. I am very honest with that person of why they shouldn't buy the product.
Yeah.
Particular piece.
Have you had like conversations with the company owners, employees about like their products and how accessible they are, or have you ever made any recommendations where they've taken in like modified products or anything?
I actually earned an incentive trip a couple of years ago, and I got to talk to the CEO, what are they? It's not the CEO, but the COO of the company.
Yep.
I got to tell them my story and how Pampered Chef has given me my independence, and I told them what products I use regularly and what products I don't because of the different issues that I've had with the product. And they were very excited that a person with a disability was using their product, and we are trying to get confirmation, or I'm trying to get confirmation that I can actually be a speaker at one of their upcoming conventions because they were so impressed with my story. So that's in the works.
That's awesome. Is Pampered Chef a Minnesota company?
No, it's based out of Chicago. Doris Christopher is the founder. It's 45 years old. She wanted a way to, her background was home economics, and she wanted a way to stay at home with her kids and help them grow up at home while having an income. So she went to a material type of fair in Chicago and found a couple of different products like stoneware, a pizza stone, and started at the basement of her home, and it grew from there, and it's 45 years old, and she's still part of the company, but Warren Buffett now owns the company. She brought cherry cheesecake, I think it was, to Warren Buffett's office back in I think it was 1991, if I'm not mistaken. with no overhead and the cherry pie, and he tasted the cherry product on the stoneware piece, and he said, "I'll take it," and he bought the company.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Can you speak maybe a little bit about your like employment history and like how for you having a disability, how some this kind of a company or this way to earn money has been beneficial for you?
Sure. I am from the administrative background.
Okay.
My starting at the age of 8, I would go in on weekends to my father's company in South Minneapolis. I would sweep his floors, and I would learn the business from the ground up, literally.
Hmm.
My parents didn't think that I would be independent or have employment because of my disability. So my father took the initiative and brought me into his company at an early age, and I learned everything about the company. I even, after college, or when I graduated college, I came home kicking and screaming because I didn't want to lose the independence that I had at college.
Hmm.
And but I ended up working for my father. I was his right-hand person up until the day that he sold his business.
Right.
He had a cemetery memorial and concrete bird baths and fountains and granite countertop storefront in South Minneapolis
Okay.
for over 30 years.
Yeah.
So, and then once he retired, then I went into a couple of different administrative part-time jobs, and then worked also at a school. Um, but I had medical issues throughout, and it was recommended to me by a doctor. I was a United Way child, and
Okay.
didn't know I was a United Way child. And this is Alan Bensman, who is was a physical medicine doctor, and he is the one that helped me advocate for myself and
Okay.
have a voice. And he said I should apply for Social Security disability,
Yep.
and got me the forms to do that. And it took 3 tries to get on Social Security disability. And finally, I talked to my family attorney and said, "Could you help me get on Social Security disability?"
Mhm.
I had just had surgery and I wasn't making any money. And he helped me file again for the 4th time.
Hmm.
And we went in front of a judge. I had gotten a letter previously from the medical review board saying that I wasn't a person with a disability. So what I had done is I had faxed 350 pages or more, I think, to the medical review board before my hearing.
Right.
And when I walked into the hearing with a social disability, so a disability advocate and
Yep.
my attorney, the judge asked me why I was there, and I said, "I'm here to prove that I have a physical disability and I should be on Social Security disability." The um, the uh, the judgment was after 20 minutes. It was the shortest shortest hearing that has been on record, or that has been known to be on record. He asked me a few questions. He asked my attorney a few questions. Then he
Hmm.
said, "Yes, you have a physical disability," and they paid me 3 years of back
Hmm.
pay
Yep.
at that time. So,
Yeah.
and so that was what's going on. And then I'm still on Social Security disability, but
Yep.
Pampered Chef has helped me with the with supplementing my income.
Sure. That's great. So growing up in Minnesota, how was school for you? Were you like, did you have an IEP or that kind of
Yeah,
thing? Or
I have a learning difference. My mother was actually in special ed.
okay.
She was a special ed teacher. So I had an IEP up until 6th grade.
Okay.
Uh, I tested out of the programs in high school, in junior high and high school. People treated me differently because of the physical disability that I had and also the learning differences that I had. And I have had, I mean, I'm 53 years old. I have had more than 50 surgeries due to my spina bifida. So doctors and nurses were my friends most of the time.
Yep.
I didn't have a lot of peers.
Yeah. And were most of those surgeries when you were like growing up, or I mean,
many of them were, but as I grew older, I had to have colostomy surgery. I'd have to have, I broke my femur bone a couple of times as an adult. And I've had hernia surgery. I've had a lot of different surgeries that were not planned. And I'm also in the medical books because apparently I'm one of the oldest people with my type of spina bifida that is alive. So I am the guinea pig for the younger generation.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
You have a lot of interesting stuff about yourself.
Well, I try not to, but yes, I do. I have an interesting history and parents that are my father is now deceased from Alzheimer's, but parents that tried to look out for me, but didn't really have the tools to do that. I mean, sometimes my mother would put me in a cab to go to the university, and the doctor in the poster would meet me at the university and take me around to clinic. And he taught me how to self-advocate for myself and ask the questions that I needed to ask, because I didn't have the background to know what I needed to do. So he was one of my biggest advocates, and I had a couple other doctors, an orthopedic doctor and a urology doctor that were mainstays in my life as well.
So that's where you did a lot of your doctoring, was at the university?
It was all at the university. Very rarely would I go to Abbott. I was born at Methodist, which is in St. Louis Park, but in the 70s they had a fire. So all of my records from when I was born and had my shunt put in, at 3 days old, and all of the other surgeries that I had while I was in the hospital while I was born, they all blew up in a fire. So I don't have any of those records.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that was before it was all on computers. I'm way before that. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, the guy in the poster, it's an interesting story. My parents bought his house before I was born. My mother was pregnant with me. And once I was, and the doctor gave my dad his card and said, if you ever need anything, I'm in physical medicine, please reach out to me. It turned out that he started the spina bifida clinic, the myelomeningocele clinic, or I think it's called the myelomeningocele clinic at the University of Minnesota with Ron Bateman, who's another physical medicine doctor. So when I was born, my father still had the card and asked if the house could have created my spina bifida, because they didn't know anything about spina bifida at the time. And the doctors were telling my parents to put me into an institution because my back was open. I wasn't going to live past the age of 3. Just go ahead and put me in an institution. And it's a good thing they didn't listen. Alan Bensman told them that he has their back and helped navigate the closing of my back and putting in a shunt and other things as an infant. And as I was growing up, he would be the person to go to for the questions. And we didn't know this poster was this picture was being taken at all. And we found it in my grandmother's basement, all rolled up. And I don't know how she got it, but I framed it, obviously. And I brought it to his retirement party because I was invited to his retirement party. And I showed him this picture. He cried. I was one of his remaining patients that would see him throughout the years. So he got to see me grow up, and he became a family friend during all of this. So we would go to lunch and dinner and things
Right.
after he retired and before he passed away.
Yeah.
So
That's that's a crazy story that your parents bought the house from him, and then that's crazy.
yeah, well, because they didn't know any better, they thought
Yeah.
something in
Yep.
the house could have created my spina bifida instead of
Yeah.
what's out there for that my mother didn't take enough. There's some vitamin my mother, I forgot
Oh,
which one,
sure.
but supposedly my mother didn't take enough of it. So
Yeah. How can we use empathy to be more inclusive?
how can we use empathy to be more inclusive? Um, I think people not staring, people actually coming up to me and asking me the questions that they want to ask me instead of parents shooing the child away.
Right.
I've had numerous instances where they just have big eyes and they stare and they point, and I know they have questions. So I
Right.
try to go, if I'm in that situation, I try to go up to that particular child and say, do you want to ask me a question? I'm completely open for you to ask
Yeah.
me, because you if you don't know something, knowledge is power.
Right.
So and
Yeah.
sometimes I get a reaction from the parents that no, we're not interested. I mean, at one point, at one conversation, I was told by the parent, we don't talk to cripples.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and this was in the middle of a grocery store,
Yeah.
and the people heard it, and they're like, "Oh my God!" So, I mean, it's just asking instead of ignoring. Um, um, don't assume I need help. I
Right.
mean, to open a door or to move a cart or whatever it is I'm doing. Um, just let me try, because I want to be as independent as I possibly can.
Right. So when you go out, do you use a wheelchair or you use a walker?
I use a walker. I use a walker
Okay.
24/7
Okay.
at the moment. I
Yeah.
was in the hospital 2 years ago. Actually, April 12th is the anniversary date. I went by ambulance. I had 104 temperature, and during the 15-day hospital stay, I went septic 4 different times. And
Wow.
I was asked by the nursing staff, do I have a healthcare directive? And my mother brought it in, and I'm asked that every single time I go into the hospital now. I've had, I think I've had 8 hospital stays in the last 2 years, and about 4 or 5 or more outpatient for IV drugs. I keep
Wow.
getting infectious diseases and chronic UTIs, and they can't figure out why.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
being a
My.
virtual
Right.
consultant with Pampered Chef helps, because
Yeah.
I can do my business while I'm
Yep.
on my computer in my hospital room, and they
Yeah.
don't know the difference. So
Yeah. That's that makes it pretty handy for sure.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. My daughter uses a power wheelchair, so I mean, you talking about kids will come up to her chair because they don't usually see them and like get curious, and then yeah, you can kind of tell some of the parents are like, oh my gosh, why are you like this is awkward. What am I supposed to do? So yeah,
Right.
the tip about just like I mean they're kids, they're curious, they want it's different, they want to climb on it, ask questions. I mean, go for it.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I wouldn't necessarily have people climb on the
yeah,
wheelchair, but
yep,
I would want them to ask questions rather
yep,
than have a bad thought about what it is to be a person with a disability. I mean, even
for
hidden
sure,
disabilities
right,
or learning differences as well.
yeah,
Ask
for sure,
questions.
yeah,
You're only going to
absolutely,
know if you ask the questions. I mean, or if you're pointed in the right direction of where to do the research.
yeah, for sure. What is one tip you can share to help the listeners be more inclusive today? So just something everybody can start doing today to be more inclusive.
I mean, I would check out the Pampered Chef product, just to,
Sure.
if you have someone in your life that has hand issues or mobility issues or is
Hmm.
older, that only makes one pot meals. I would the as I was trying to say before, the product is multi generational. Anything from kids that are learning how to handle kitchen supplies in the kitchen while their
Mm-hmm.
parents are cooking,
Sure.
to uh, elementary school kids that want to make their own snacks,
Yep.
to college students that only have a microwave or has a very small area where they can maybe bring a slow cooker with them, or something that that they can have hands on, so they don't have to keep going to the dining hall if they don't want to.
Right.
They can be independent in their own college dorm or first apartment. Excuse me. Um, to wedding, I've got wedding registries, to empty nesters, to older people that are living alone. So
Sure.
just look at the product, see how ergonomically correct it is. If somebody needs recommendations, they can reach out to me.
Sure.
Another tip is to find out, do your research, find if you're going to a place that is not familiar, do your research, see if it's accessible
Right.
to you before going. There have been many places that say they have accessibility, and they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they say on their website that they are accessible, but I've been known to call and find out if they have an elevator.
Yep.
Or how do I get into the building? Are there stairs? Because
Yep.
I can't do stairs.
Yep.
And many times they don't have a ramp that goes up to their door. So
Yeah. Yeah, the calling ahead is a good tip. My daughter, we like to go to concerts, so pretty much now before I buy tickets, I mean if I've been there before I don't, but if it's a new place I call. I'm like, hey, how does this work at your facility? And like, yeah, we're accessible. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but like, what do you have? So yeah, we don't buy tickets, and then all of a sudden we can't get her. She can't see the thing or can't get in the building. So
right, and I've been to many places where I ask where the parking is and how far the parking is from the place, because I can't walk far.
Right.
And I don't have. I mean, when I earned my trip to Texas for Pampered Chef, I had to rent a scooter because I couldn't get from place to place.
Right.
And what I found also was the scooter didn't fit into the doorways of the hotel rooms because the doors weren't wide enough. So I ended up nicking the doorways with the scooter, and I was fined $150, which I fought because they said that their hotel was accessible, and I didn't have a choice where I was staying. It was that hotel where the incentive trip was.
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting what people deem as accessible.
For sure. Where's the best place for everybody to connect with you?
I am on Facebook. They can connect me. They can find my picture. I actually have 2 different profiles on Facebook. One of them has been hijacked by Facebook. So if you see a picture of me just by myself, that's the profile. Okay. And then they can send me a friend request, and I would add them to my private Pampered Chef page on Facebook. Also, I do have a website that they can go look at the products on the website, but I would contact me directly through the website because I usually have a party going on, and I can give a discount or maybe free shipping depending on what the order is. So, and I would love to connect with people, especially with people with disabilities, to show them different product via a Zoom or some kind of streaming, so that I can show them the different products, what they're interested in, and have a conversation with them.
Awesome. Ready for the last question?
Sure.
Do you like Spam lunch meat? Yes or no?
No.
That was fast.
It's not kosher. I'm part of the Jewish faith, and so
makes sense.
I can't have that, or don't want to have that.
Yeah, I live in Austin, Minnesota, so I ask all my guests because that's where obviously Hormel is and where the Spam meat is located, just to see what happens. And usually, like, that's what happens. Either really quick yes or really quick no. There's like not a lot of
nope.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. To those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.